Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another history of Overwatch. We're going back in time and we're going to look at the stage 2 finals. I know a lot of you in the comments were like, Custa, you said you're going to not watch stage 2 finals, but like that's not fair to NYXL because like they lose. I want to see them be good, so fine. Just for you guys, we will enjoy NYXL's success and then we'll also laugh at the fact that this is the first time the Philadelphia Fusion ever came second. The first of many times that they're gonna come second. So this is the beginning of their disappointment, and it starts off with a banger as well, because the Philadelphia Fusion, I'm just gonna spoil it, get reverse swept, as far as I remember. So it's just like salt in the wound. So Philadelphia fans, don't come at me. Come at the NYXL fans, okay? That's just keeping that in tune. So we're gonna watch it go down history lane as we always do. So let's just get started, get it moving. Hey, Puckett. We got Johnny and Sully. Hey, that's what I'm doing. Am I Puckett? I might be Puckett. And that makes Danny Crumbs. See? The world is full circle. Yo, look at this roster. Fraggy, Snillo, Boombox, Neptuno, Shadowburn, Joe Meister is still on this roster? Who the hell's Dayfly? Who's that? Zoe is Puckett. How is Zoe not Zoe? Alright, we're not gonna watch the thing. Then we got the NYXL team. This is the classic one. I'm pretty sure if you watch the NYXL match that we watched London Spitfire Stage 1 Finals, you will agree that Janus was definitely the problem. I don't like to be negative, but it was 4 years ago now. Hopefully he's past it. Janus was definitely the problem. Absolutely got boomed. I hope this maybe is the beginning of when they start playing Mano almost exclusively. And NYXL is starting to sort of like really hit their stride playing the comp that they were playing. So let's get these rollouts going. Pine was flex? Not really. I think like Pine played like Zyre at some point, so they're like, he can play flex. Yeah, they named a lot of people flex back in the day. Oh, let's Philly walk out. No, Pine was flex because he would flex to the other team and then just like perma-int into the backline every now and then. Neptuno's like, let me in. Yay, Philly! Good old Fraggy days. It's so interesting seeing this be almost a primarily Western team. Oh, shit. Libero! I miss Libero, bro. Also, if you watched Plat Chat recently, and you saw them do the top main supports, I'd like to give a special shout out to my boy Matt, putting me in the top 15. Shout outs to you. Also, shout out to Sideshow, who for some reason put Neptuno at number 5. I'm as much of a lover of Neptuno on his mercy as he was, but number 5, some people got slided on that one, so. Bren also had me in the top 15. You're my boy, Bren. You're my boys. It was Neptuno put him at 5? Oh, okay, sorry. Oh no, Sideshow put Animo at 8, which I don't get that one at all. Bren put Neptuno at 5. All right. He put you in top 10? Yeah, Matt put me in top 10 of the all-time main supports, but he also put wins at 12, so I feel like that massively invalidated. Yeah, this idiot invalidated his own points. Matt's definitely on a box. Dude, look at... If you've watched Overwatch anytime recently, this is not what they look like. Matt's on like a 4-foot box at this point.
But none other than the Philadelphia Fusion match. Yeah, it's been a while since that stage 1 matchup, obviously, but
they've actually made it look pretty good. It makes Mitch look smaller. Well, like, actually, they just like, if you didn't know, it's definitely the play to put him on a box, right? I just like to make fun of Matt, but I'm sure Matt will come in here. Hey, did you just attack Ayabo? 1 second, VOD. Hey, no, Get down. Get out. Get out. No cat on cat violence, Bo. Be nice to Aya. That happens again, you're out.
So good throughout this stage, a lot like stage 1.
Alright.
I feel like
Honestly, it doesn't seem like a lot has changed in terms of the comps.
this matchup is, you know, in stage 1, a lot of their Widow play was played.
Since we last watched it, like it's a lot of Mercy Zen. I assume Boobox is gonna switch to Zen.
I know there's hardly any better Widowmakers in the league than
When did everyone really start playing a lot of the Winston?
the Widow of your
I feel like the way I remembered season 1 was like Winston, Diva, Zen, Mercy with like Widow, Tracer.
all the marbles on the line.
Or like
here in
Widow.
stage 2, and
When did that start happening?
will be on the attack.
Oh, dude, the Snillo Tracer, man.
Curiously,
Snillo like very rarely played in this season, right?
they're gonna run a reset.
But he has like some of the best stats of the season. Oh, SBB gets Carpe off the bat. This was also the beginning of when NYXL started really putting Sibyobi onto the Widow and not just Pine, because Sibyobi needed to be able to flex towards the Tracer. Because what was happening is Pine was going Widow, he would need to switch to Tracer, and then he would just like, he would just not be as good, right? Or he couldn't. Didn't he? Yeah, Snillo was only in to play Tracer. Like, if they're like, we're not going to play Flex, they would take EQR. Oh my god, we are just gambling. There's a lot of gambling going on by Philly that Sibyobi's not going to hit the shot. And he is not hitting the shot.
Up on the high ground. Now, Carpe can play a little bit of Genji. We just
Hey.
don't see it that often. Now, remember, this is a best of 5, not a 5-map series necessarily. So, 3 maps would be
Looks like your Widow, I know. Body shot bandit.
the Valkyrie now drawn out, and the Philadelphia Fusion have finally made their
Oh?
they've landed, but Sabio
Hit that. Oh wow, nice shot by Carpe. Why is Carpe over there?
towards the side. Now he's flanking back around. A lot of
Wait, I don't know what just happened.
getting in position to do the work, and Sabio now has been brought back into the fray, but they don't know that Carpe's behind them yet. Ark could be in trouble. Carpe's giving himself away. Now low as Meko went on cleaning duty. Yeah, Ark using his Valkyrie to keep everybody topped up here for NY.
Libero?
Payload still moving here for the Philadelphia.
Alright, not bad. Dude, that was a wild Carpe flank.
That transcendence for this fight, they may not even need it though. As Philly looks to be pushing the payload, they will take point A. Despite a very treacherous landscape to deal with in the anti-dive comp of New York, Philadelphia have managed
Oh, so that's doing well. Yeah, the meme is that he's picking mushrooms somewhere in the forest. I don't even know where that meme came from, but you know, that sounds nice, so I hope that's what he's doing.
and he was able to get around that barrier of mono, which is dangerous then because Arisa, obviously the barrier is, you know, just kind of just placed there. It's not like
Is the commentators loud enough for you guys? Like, I know some people like it a little bit louder. I don't like it too loud where it feels like it's drowning me out.
definitely the more patient counterpart.
Oh, Fraggy down.
On this team. Fraggy's caught out by a riptide from Libero though. He tried to wrap around the side. Snillo was also
Oh.
with him. Now he's caught in a trap. There's no way he's getting out of it.
Can't hear much of it.
Libero cleans him up with a grenade, and now the rest of the fusion will likely collapse. Or try
Volume is fine, okay.
whichever one happens first.
Philly looks dominant. Surely they win this, or at very least win a final soon.
Fraggy there.
Baja Mania, come on, man.
Left alone on the payload, and Mondo and Sabiel jump right on him. He uses Transcendence to stay alive, tries to
You guys aren't missing much. It's just Matt and Mitch just analyzing the game. Obviously, it's great to listen to them, but that's not really the point of what
disengage and not
we're watching this for.
at that point, but for some reason the Philadelphia
The Philly fans are sad enough, as is the way.
those ultimates into the fight.
This, because I'm right about this, right? Oh, nice pulse. This was This was like the beginning of, This was like the first time Philly ever got close to winning it. Oh, wow, that was nasty. No, Fraggy. No, Fraggy, no. No, no. That was just unfortunate. But Jonak just refuses to die. That should sum up the 2018 NYXL. Jonak just refusing to die. The beginning of the rest of their time in the Overwatch League, yeah. Wait, Libero went Genji? Libero's crazy. Why would you go Genji? But I guess what else did they used to go back then? Like, what did they used to go? I think it was a lot of Widow Tracer, right?
Around an Orisa or a Junkrat or anything like that. It's time to turn it up to 11 for them and get aggressive. With the Fusion, they love that. That's how they play. They were born and molded by it. They haven't seen a placid game of Overwatch until they were already adults, and now it will be Carpe. You can see deep flanking is Snillo. Getting close to a pulse bomb, he'll need a couple clips to have that, and this is how he's going to get it.
Did Mitch just reference The Dark Knight?
It's really just
Is that what I just heard? Oh, that was a nasty clip by Snillo.
And eventually Carpe is good enough on that Widowmaker. He's going to come up with some kills.
Snillow's going to use that recall. It gets quite low, but there it is, just creating that space, buying, some time. Mono's out there in the open, gets picked off.
Once again, Snillow sees a Transcendence and knows he has a pulse bomb. He's not too
Okay, Mono. Snillow's just playing hide and seek.
from right now. He wants Jonak.
Oh, nice eat by Mecha.
Meko turns around and eats the bomb up. Snillow.
Dude, Mecha was so good on NYXL.
Yeah, Billy backed up out of that fight when both support ults came out for NYXL because now they're going to hold on to their
Oh
own
my God.
Transcendence. They're going to try and
Oh,
towards the
that was filthy.
even though he's getting bashed around here by Mono, he'll hit a shot on through.
Okay, chat, let's have this discussion. If you had to pick one Widow player to have on your team from Season 1 of Overwatch League, who would it be?
4 seconds on the clock.
Season 1, only Season 1.
Philadelphia Fusion now kicked it up a gear.
And Poco right now is having himself a very good first half. He was good on their Route 66 against the London Spitfire.
You know what I'm gonna say, right? Like, yeah.
Zero deaths here, but it's going to be 20
Mine might be...
damage tops on Philadelphia right now.
I think mine would be Carpe, because Carpe could play a lot of other things as well. But I also, I would go Carpe over Birdring. I think Carpe was better than Birdring in Season 1. But obviously Birdring's fucking nuts, but... Maybe, I think so, right? Both of them were incredible. I think it has to be between Birdring and Carpe. I do like the person who said Sire Player, but my problem with Sire Player is that, like... Yeah, maybe if we're just talking about Widow, right? Only Widow, not talking about the flexibility anywhere, it might be Sire Player. It might be Sire Player if it's only talking about Widow, right? Obviously, I would prefer Birdring and Carpe because of their flexibility, but if we're just talking about the Widow play, I think it is Sire Player. Shortfall was up there. Yeah, Shortfall was a good Widow. Shortfall was incredibly passive, though, if I remember correctly. I remember I think it was Soon. I remember Soon talking about Shortfall. He's like, he just plays incredibly. He, like, wants you to push into his angles. While, like, when you have, like, players like Carpe and Birdring and fucking Pine, like, they were going for it. Pine was too inconsistent, yeah. And I think that's the thing that, like, a lot of people forget, is, like, Pine had probably some of the best clips in the league, right? But he had days where he'd go missing, and I think Carpe and Birdring were more consistent than him. What about Lynx? Lynx was solid, but I don't think he's in the conversation I would think of the best Widow. Like, I wouldn't be upset having Lynx as my Widow player, but I wouldn't... If I could choose anyone, it wouldn't be Lynxa.
The Fusion will have to wait for a moment here, unless Carpe finds a miracle pick. Self-destruct, just again creates
mistakes. Oh no.
But he's down immediately. Jonak making sure the job's done.
We're talking flexibility then Flatter, yeah. Wasn't Birdring injured half the season? I think that was Season 2. Right? That was Season 2 that he injured himself?
So it's going to be very difficult for Snill to get these flanks off.
Kind of makes you think that NYXL,
Was that Season 1? Ah, okay. Do you guys remember how he hurt his wrist?
And they keep pressing forward. Carpe refusing to give an inch now. Literally and physically now, as he steps a long way forward.
Yeah, he sprained his wrist because he slammed his desk playing Getting Over It. Which is like a platforming game. Bruh. Dude, Fusion are getting stuffed here.
Seconds left. All support ults up here. Savio will be also
True story, yeah.
very good at zoning players out. So you see Mono goes over to Orisa here, so you're going to have that barrier, so it's going to be very difficult for Carpe to get any shots off. He's going to have to go high.
Man, I remember Getting Over It. That game was infuriating. Wow. Ooh, Libero goes down.
Worried about getting blown up by the self-destruct, but Libero's down already. Still finds a new target. 4 legs. It'll be Mono, the choice, but the Transcendence was there to prevent most of the...
How do you think you would do if you got signed as a tank player in Season 1 of Al with your current tank level? With my current tank level, I think I'd be fine. Like, you look at the tank play now, it's like, as much as it was incredibly good back then, it's not like, if you look at it now, you're like, this is kind of average. I think I could be okay in Al, at my current level. Oh, I guess hit by the trap. The game has improved so much. No way. I really, like, I'm not saying main tank. I'm not saying main tank. I'm not talking Winston. I'm talking off tank. I think I could play Diva in the Overwatch League with my current Diva level. Like, remember, my Diva's like 4,300, I would say. 4,200. You would not say, I think the tank level around now, if these players were imported to now, would be around 4,200, 4,100.
He can go in and then Carpe can get these uncontested Widow shots.
No, season 1. We're not talking Overwatch 2021. We're talking season 1 of Overwatch League. Like, I got teleported right now to the Overwatch League in 2018, and I was like, all of a sudden, I'm on the Valiant. No, let's say I'm on Dallas Fuel. On off tank.
There's no way you're gonna want to dive that.
I think I would do fine.
Yeah, you see those, pick heavy comps. Give them
You said right, no, not right now. I'm fucking trash at tank, right? In comparison to these our tank players. Like, I'm talking about, like, obviously the skill level increasing from in the last 4 years, right? 3 years.
It still is if you ask hydration.
Yeah, just these like one-shot blow-em-up comps where you can just really just chunk players down. And that is definitely a good one that NYXL brought out there in the end.
It's a philosophy that
You had to play 2018 Diva though. Yeah, but 2018 Diva wasn't that different to the current Diva. Like, what is the difference between Diva then to now?
Ultimate advantage or ultimate economy. So getting that pick, giving yourself the 6v5, quite often.
I think I'd be mid to high out season 1. I agree as well. And like, literally, like, let's take me out of it, obviously, to remove bias, right? I think a 4200, I think a 4200, 4100, like, okay, let's just generalize it. I think a GM tank player, oh no, maybe GM's too late. Let's go like 4200 tank player right now in just the ladder, who's like properly supposed to be there, would do well in AL in 2018. Remake doesn't deal damage. Oh yeah, I guess that's it.
Carpe. Okay. Just pulling off some moves.
Matrix had a cooldown? No, Matrix isn't on a cooldown. I'm pretty sure right now it's on the meter already, and there is rockets.
Roadhog set up. We have seen them run.
I think both of those things are in.
Deliver a very good hunt.
Oh, the booster timing. I actually forgot that they made the booster timing way shorter, actually.
The Junkrat is really
And you couldn't get, actually remember, you couldn't get pushed in mech as well.
see if he can be very careful on these flanks.
You couldn't get pushed around. I forgot about that change as well.
Right? He's able to finish off a lot of these kills, but not exactly like darting in there, just like one-clipping players constantly. So it's definitely going to test him.
Yeah, he's definitely less.
You couldn't shoot during boosters? I think you can.
So this is a slow roll composition.
I'm pretty sure you can at this point. I remember thinking that last time, but then being pleasantly surprised.
Your own risk, and this is what happens. So Poco tries
The remake, yeah, the remake used to do like 50 damage or 25 damage or something like that. Alright, big picks. The Orisa Hog special, just walking it down. Oh,
that barrier to hide behind. They take out Fraggy, so you lose both your tanks here.
that Widow is over. I guess they don't have dives. Ooh.
From Meko on a boombox, and there's not a great way for Philadelphia to attack this comp on the payload, right? Just a lot of burst potential with that Roadhog and Junkrat.
And you kind of need a source of indirect damage, Matt. You know,
Pulled pork, yeah. This is like, Orisa Hog slowly gets more and more traction as the season goes on. A lot of people were playing the Winston dive, what Philly is playing now, but it definitely goes more and more towards pulled pork as the year goes on. I think maybe not in season 3. I think in season 3, remember, Boston went almost perfect playing the Winston dive, right? I'm right about that, right? Where I can't remember season 3 actually. The mistake striker combo was still, it was definitely still dive because Boston played really well playing dive, right? That was Gamsu Note tank line with striker mistakes. So over solid to see if you threw a current Overwatch Pro into 2018, they would dominate, I think. They would dominate. Like, they would be the best player in their role, I would say. Like, just if you just watch the gameplay, guy, you'll notice that the play is just kind of low.
If he's not picking up shots at range, who is putting any pressure on Carpe in the back? Who is putting damage down on Boombox? It's not like they can dive these players in that backline.
No, they can't. Yeah, exactly right. This is a composition, and if Sabiobi's out of the mix, the backline of the Philadelphia Fusion are sitting by the pool drinking.
Even same with Code. Oh yeah, like players are always learning. Like the same thing will happen in 4 years after where we are now, right? Where players are just, well, I guess it's weird because we're going into Overwatch 2, but like people are gonna always keep getting better and better and better. It happens in every game, not just Overwatch. People always get better. The game never stagnates.
Again, the sound cue should be enough to strike the fear of God.
Do you think you could be one of the best supports in season 1 with your current support level? No, because I haven't gotten better since season 2. I've gotten worse since season 2 because I don't play the game like at that level. So no, not really. But it goes back to like what I was saying, like I would be like very good as support, I think, in this in the league.
A lot of the times NYXL, they like to use their Transcendence plus Valkyrie to get a res off. you know, keep everybody healed up, but they're not able to do it just there, as Boombox will have the transition.
Like, think about it now, right? Let's use Mercy as an example. Mercies don't even super jump right now. And it's one of the best ways to maneuver. And you look at Mercies in GM these days, these like random ranked Mercies have like crazy movement. And you just don't see that in AL at this level. Obviously, it's very different because like everyone always had Valk almost all the time and you were just like a moth most of the time. But like it was it do? Yeah, Mercy super jumps has always been a thing. People just didn't really do it. Because people didn't really understand the complete viability of it. I'm pretty sure everyone could do it. Because I remember, like, I used to be able to do it. People just didn't, it wasn't something I ever really, like, integrated in. Like, I think Mercies these days are drastically better than we were back in the day. Because this is like before now, right? People like sorry, this iteration of Mercy, people only ever really played hide and seek Mercy, so you were always a backliner essentially. You were never a frontlining Mercy. You were always just like attached to someone and then hiding and seeking and that kind of stuff. Like movement wasn't as big of a deal as after, you know, all the changes happened, stuff like that.
He knows it's going to be hard to burst down Jonak when Ark is in his vicinity. He needs to work with Fraggy here, try and split the Mercy off from the Zenyatta and then go in for the kill.
I think I mentioned this before, but how did your parents take your gaming career at the start? My parents were hesitant, but they trusted me. And like, it was my decision, right? Mine was obviously a harder situation because it wasn't like, oh, I just want to take this seriously and put a lot of time into it. It's like I literally flew away from Australia and moved to Canada when Overwatch came out. So they were obviously concerned about me, but you know, they support me in my decision. I'm Platinum Mercy Jump, and that's sort of it, right? Like the gameplay is always getting better and better and better and better. Even at the AL level, right? Oh my god, Jonak's so good, bro.
It's a huge kill from Boombox and Poco to get Libero and Jonak out because
Moth used to super jump to get above a window to res with cover. Yeah, like people did it every now and then, but nowhere near as much as they do now. And are you sure that was season 1? Yeah, I think Jonak Zen is one of the few things that I think, like, legitimately, I think Jonak was just better than every other Zen, and it wasn't close. Like, I think Jonak in season 1, 2018, was the biggest discrepancy in skill base across the entire player base. Like, no one was close to to Jonak. Like, who was the closest flex support to him? Bedosen? And even then, like, Bedosen was good, but it wasn't Jonak, right? Like,
coming online. You know, after that, if you don't get great value out of those, you're really kind of praying for a late game sound barrier.
NYXL trying to break line of sight and prevent Carpe from getting damage early. They move into the side buildings, but Meko gets desuited during Jonak's Transcendence. That's going to be a blow to the NYXL. Meko now fully taken down. Libero trying to find Carpe, but he just zips up vertically.
Jonak was absolutely nutty.
Still trying to chase him in vain. Libero's fallen and Carpe's still trying to keep...
Jaehong and Ana? Yeah, no, but I'm talking about Zen, right? Like, Jaehong Ana back in the day, but even then, like, on Zen, Jaehong never had anything on Jonak in season 1. Oh my god, what is happening? Get out of there, Mano! Play Janus, you cowards! Dude, NYXL's getting absolutely rolled on this attack. Libero's gonna need to go sicko with this Genji Blade. Was this the Aki round then? No, he came in season 2 to Valiant.
It was way too deep. It was overextended.
Yeah, funny Asher went to Glads.
And, you know, Carpe goes over to McCree here. So just one flashbang and a shot to Libero.
Which I think is a really good signing, because his Lucio's nutty, and I think if they're going to play... Like, if it's... They have double flex support with a Brig from Skewed. So having, like, a really good, like, Mercy Lucio player in Funny Asher, I think is a great signing.
Libero with a Dragon Blade, though. He'd love to cut himself some supports. He sees Poco at low health. He's looking right now for Boombox, and he's found him. Carpe was there.
Pull the blade, Libero. If you don't pull the blade, I'm gonna be mad. Meko remake kill on the Poco. Remake does damage, by the way. Oh, he just doesn't have enough. Oh, that beat is good. Snillo stuck Sabiolbi. Alpha. Oxon. Woo! Philly gets the first map. You hyped for Sol? I'm really excited for Sol this upcoming season. Jonak was unknown. Yeah, for the most part, he didn't have a lot of competitive experience. He was pretty much unknown. He was like a ranked warlord, and he got picked up. Is this the map that the last time Philly felt joy? No, I think they win the next map as well, right?
They've given Team much trouble with Carpe playing the Widowmaker and Snillo on the train.
Yeah, Snell and Tracer, Carpe Widow was nuts.
It's been impressive. Lijiang Tao has been a very good map for
Lijiang Tao is a good map for EQO though, because I think they played the Junkrat and Control Center, right? Is it a good move for Funny Astro though? How will he get game time if Moss struggled? Maybe, well the thing is like, maybe he doesn't, like maybe that's the role he wants to play, right? Like, maybe he wants to be on a championship caliber team and have his role within that team. Because like in a world, like let's say, 5v5, for whatever reason, Lucio is like primary meta, Funny Astro will play almost the entire time, right? So it's kind of like, you take the good with the bad. Like Lucio, Mercy. And as Liz said, he's probably getting a fat paycheck. Like, he's already played on a mixed team. Maybe he didn't have any good teams that wanted to give him offers, and he'd rather play on like a really good team that has a chance to win a championship than be a starter on a weak team. You know what I mean? I don't have Muse anymore? No, they picked up Reina, who is a Western main tank.
No Zarya though for the NYXL. So it's a very durable composition. It will threaten low HP players like Carpe and EQO who are gonna have to get close to do damage.
Alright, so we got a Moira comp, Roadhog, a triple tank Moira comp versus the Winston Dive. Lucio Zen. Before Brig existed in the game. No, which is better, playtime on a lower team or a bench on a better team? Well, it really comes down to what your goal is, right? Is your ultimate goal to win a championship, or is your ultimate goal to be like a primary mainstay player, right? Like I would never recommend any player joining a team in which you think you have no chance of being a starter, or like, play under a superstar, right? Which is kind of like, what's an example of that? Like, shit, what's an example of that? Like Molly joining the Shanghai Dragons. Oh yeah, Twilight and Violet, right? Like that's a good one, right? Twilight joining the San Francisco Shock was an enormous gamble because he might never play while Violet exists on that team, right? And that's what happened, right? He almost never played. I think that Twilight joins the team wanting to win a championship, right? And be like, in double flex, I'll play. So it's like, but for the majority of the time, he's never going to play. Or he's never expecting to be able to play over the time. Develop on Shanghai. Yeah, maybe develop onto Shanghai is a better example. Just someone who like joins a team where you're like, you are never going to play or get main play time. You shouldn't join that, because there's been a lot of examples of people who have joined these teams, never got play time. The few times they have been like useless time, and then they've never played again. Let's use Trill as an example, right? Great up-and-coming Australian main tank, gets signed to Dallas Fuel under OGE, right? He's never going to play over OGE, who's like a veteran player who has some of the best mechanics in the game, and OGE was really going to be the star player of Dallas Fuel. So with Trill never expecting to play, he plays a few maps. No one's ever really impressed by it. He doesn't really get any scrim time. He then gets to the end of the season and no one wants him because all of a sudden he isn't considered a good player anymore, or an up-and-coming player. So it's like, you should never sign those kind of contracts. And there's been a lot of players who have done the same thing on bad teams, right? Like you can say the same thing for like contenders players who have joined like the Vancouver Titans. And they join that team, the team's really shit, and everyone's like, well, this player's bad. And then they just never play again, right? Like, let's use like Dalton, for example, right? Is Dalton even in the league anymore? Dalton Overwatch League? No, I don't think so, right? Yeah, like Dalton finally gets an opportunity to play in the league, but he plays for the Vancouver Titans, a team where he's never going to be able to shine. Just doesn't really have a good performance, and then boom. Like, no one's going to sign Dalton at this point, right? When you have so many good Tracer players, right? He's never going to be given a fair shot. Yeah, maybe people can say he got more of an opportunity than others, but did he get a fair shot? Not really as well. So you got to be careful when you sign for these like things. And that's sort of what I'm talking about with Funny Astro. It's like Funny Astro probably this year could have signed with the Vancouver Titans, right? Which is looking like an okay team and not what it historically was. But would you rather be a bench player for a good team where you could potentially start and be an integral part of that team to win a whole thing? Or would you rather be a mainstay player on a weak team that might just not go anywhere and take that risk? So it really comes down to what you want to do. I don't think there is a right or a wrong answer, just really what you want to do.
So they'll go Reinhardt and Zarya here, obviously Zarya.
The only player who made it out of Vancouver Massacre was Shockwave, and that's it. Like, so it obviously works for Shockwave. So it's like, well, if it works for Shockwave, like maybe if Dalton was a better player, then he would have been able to prove himself better on the Vancouver Titans. You can make that argument, but I think you got to be careful about signing with bad teams. And I think Dia was someone who did that last year, right? There were rumors that the LA Valiant asked Dia to play for his this Valiant last year, and he declined because he didn't think they were going to be a good team, which is the right call, because that was nobody's career went anywhere on that team except for Molan Run, right? But even then, did Molan Run get signed again? Is Molan Run on a team?
Like Zoe said though, NYXL, they probably put most of their prep.
He did not? Man, that's sad for Molan Run. That's depressing. Hopefully he gets an opportunity for someone. No one on the Valiant got re-signed, right? And that's a prime example. Those guys literally caught that 50k bag and then just disappeared. Alright, we got Fusion on the Brawl now with Lucio Zen Brawl. I don't know about that grab, but oh, there we go. Alright, Libero goes Pharah. Dude, we're just all over the place. You can't go Pharah. You can't go Pharah when you don't have a Lucio. Arc has beat. Arc, do not switch. Don't listen to Libero. Alright, so Libero's just going to play a merciless Pharah. Okay. There's an actual audience? Yeah, this is 2018. These are the good days. Oh, that's not a great blade. Did Boombox just get booped off? Alright, Libero's a god. Libero don't need no mercy.
You would have your diva deal with it if you're going to play a dive, but they were running Zarya there, so now
smart Libero.
Poco will switch back to Zarya here as EQO will go.
EQO being able to switch to the hit scan was such a big boon for them in this season. Like being able to just like play a little bit of hit scan every now and then.
During an earlier series, of course, against the Valiant. Libero now needs to respect. Back capping, who's going to come respond to his Arc and Libero are both drawn back. Carpe takes his pick. Pulse bomb though does not find its mark, and he needs to eject from the situation, but that's allowed. The Philadelphia
Carpe just created so much space with that play. Dude, Boombox is alone on the coast.
And NYXL are really being led up the garden path here, Matt. With Mana being removed, now this fight will be dragged out, which will favor the Fusion if they can win it. But here's a Coalescence.
Oh no, this Coalescence is such a good ultimate at this point.
Carpe almost fell, Sabiobi there, but his enemy's able to get his health back, and this could get dangerous now for Philadelphia. They need to wait for the respawns, but they've only got Poco with low health on the point. He'll need to stall. They can't just walk off this point.
Alright, NYXL should have this.
Overtime already burning down.
I find it sad that EQO isn't out this year. I feel like when was the last time EQO had a good season? Though is like the sad reality, right? Is like he's been on Philly for the last 2 years and he hasn't really played much. The only time that I can think of was the Genji meta in season 3, right? Summer showed where he popped off, but he did that and then just disappeared into thing. He just hasn't really gotten a lot of play time, which to me seems really weird, but yeah. Have Traces gotten way better? Traces have gotten incredible since 2018. Like Tracer players these days are nuts. EQO was Philly MVP this season? Wait, really?
He's in that position to kind of flex between a multitude of different picks and come up with the right one. They trust him to do that himself.
Yeah, and he plays
He didn't play. Wait, no, he didn't play the whole season, right? Yeah, what do you mean? Didn't he not play the entire season? Right? Oh, this season? Oh, 2018. I'm like, wait. For some reason, my brain was like this most recent. I'm like, wait, what? This season, yeah. I don't think he was MVP, but he was very good. EQO was like a crazy level of aggressive.
Xavier was going to try and protect his backline, but EQO prevents him from being able to assist.
EQO played quite a bit in season 4. Did he?
Very quick Earth Shatter from
I don't remember anything. And right at the end, I don't remember EQO playing much at all. But then I'm trying to remember who played for their team. It's all a blur. The fact that we can't remember tells you a lot of things, yeah.
Coalescence to force the NYXL back. EQO was
Besides Carpe and Rascal, yeah.
nothing on the other end of it though. Not even an old boot, but he'll probably look for a whole hog in a moment now just to try and force some position.
I guess I didn't watch, I watched Philly, I watched every game. But like, I definitely didn't absorb the APAC games as much as I did. Oh god, there goes Mono. I didn't absorb them as much as I did, obviously Western games, because I was working during those Western games while I was watching the APAC ones in my time. There's just not enough time in the day. It's just like, the reality is obviously we're going to watch the Western games because we're awake during those games and we're working during those games, but...
How good that Poco is on Zarya and how prevalent Junkrat play is on this map.
The sad reality is I think Philly was just very forgettable this season. Like, they had some good moments, but for the most part...
I don't think Poco's feeling confident after having 4 of his grabs eaten on King's Row in the previous series. That's quite possible.
Oh, nice nade, but oh, that was a good shout out. Oh, they can't follow that. Wasn't EQO Poco funny, Astro? I thought EQO was in Visa Hell for a lot longer, but people are saying that he played the Sombra, and I feel like I remember that. Because I remember watching, do you remember that one game that EQO got fucking boomed on his Sombra TP? And he got like super unlucky in that one important match? I remember watching his Sombra. I do think there is NA bias in the casting analyst commentators. Of course there is. It's the region that we watch and we all talk about and that kind of stuff, right? Like, it's not like there wouldn't be NA bias if we like everything happened at the same time. But oh, we got the Tracer.
This will be the time for the Riptide. Decent healing being thrown in there, but Poco can't do too much except try and laser people down. He found Saviorbi, and here's that sound barrier. Note that EQO didn't benefit from it so much. I don't think he was in line of sight.
Like,
Libero found Neptuno. Riptide now coming out. This needs to be...
yeah, obviously, yeah, Achilleos is the opposite. Achilleos and, like, you're always going to be biased on what you work on, right? Like, Achilleos and Avril were very biased towards APAC, right? It's just the way it is, right? Oh, big slam by the frags. Oh, that's a big swing. Plat chat is all NA, yeah.
It's a big grab there from Poco since he switched over to that Zarya.
When did Alarm join Philly season 2?
Maybe a big hero switch that ends up helping Philadelphia keep Li Zhang Tower alive. Echo's going to have a graviton surge of his own here. Plus a mono or shatter. They do have a coalescence.
You watched season 4 the same way the Shockers did and watch not getting into any stage playoffs, yeah. And that's it, like, the reality is that, like, Philly got hard screwed by visa issues, but it's also, like, the reality is that they just weren't very, they weren't very interesting to watch. They had the same problem where, like, they would look really good one match and then the next match they would just look really bad. Which is disappointing because in season 3 they were actually incredibly consistent. Oh, Libero. I don't even know where that bomb ended up. Is that EQO on Diva? It is.
Philadelphia had to concede the point for now, but it's not over. Losing Carpe there, though, that was devastating. They need him badly, and they won't have time to wait.
Bree come out this season? Yeah, in stage 4. Oh my god, Fraggy gets mono. Dude, is Philly seriously gonna win this? Oh, that's an important beat. That's a problem. Season 3 had a lot of memorable teams, yeah. Oh. What a beautiful hook from Saviorbi to make sure he took his foe to the grave, but we're not done yet. Meko goes down himself. We're dying to a right click, and now Jonak moves into the point. Libero trying to skirt. Yeah, Philly was pretty good. Like, I remember being like, yo, is Philly gonna be good? Because they picked up Hopper and Rascal, and then they played really well in that first May Melee. And then after that, I feel like we just didn't really hear anything from them. It was really after it felt like Rascal stopped playing as much, right? Like, maybe that's it. Maybe that's why EQO is forgettable, is because, like, after Rascal in that May Melee, and they started playing more EQO on the Sombra, like...
a bit worried. You know, Meko is getting close to a Graviton Surge there. He actually used it at the end. But I think they were worried that Fraggy had Earth Shatter and didn't all want to push through that front because they wouldn't have...
Can you imagine goats with BAP?
They just kind of...
What do you mean?
Nobody actually get the touch there.
Sometimes
They did have BAP. San Francisco Shock used to play BAP in Season 2. That's what made them so good. That's what made San Francisco Shock almost unbeatable, is because they were the only team that played BAP goats and no one knew how to beat it.
Perhaps the switch was what cost him in the end. The Graviton Bond combo wasn't terrible. Saviobi managed to go 1-for-1 on that one, but now
yeah,
this is an interesting one.
It was really interesting because, like, I remember trying to work out how to beat Baptiste goats and we just couldn't work out how to beat what they were playing. On certain like, obviously they play traditional goats a lot, most of the time, but they were like, especially like 2CP and maps in which they could really get value out of the lamp, they played a lot of it. The biggest problem is not having a great tracer player, yeah. Well, it's like, it feels like Carpe is their best tracer player, but also their best hit scan player. So he kind of goes back and forth on both, and they just need to sign a specialist in the other way. And I'm really hoping we get a new version of Philly, right? Coming into this new season. Was this a thing that they played Pharah without Mercy back in? I forgot about this. But yeah, I hope it feels like the Philly is a new team. Dude, he's just doing so much damage. No one is looking at him. He's straight up just not being looked at. I love the slow hover into the barrage.
But look at all the changes you have to make for NYXL, right?
When's the new season supposed to start? In April.
Jonak, Arc, and Libero. So basically, everybody swaps heroes outside of Meko. That's going to put them behind in terms of ultimate economy, at least for this next fight, right?
Just the one fight. Again, though, on this particular map, if you lose the first fight, you only have, what, 2 more really proper fights, maybe like 3.
3 really good fights, maybe.
Philly this year will be NYXL last year, kind of rebuild phases rather than trying to win. Yeah, I don't expect Philly to be incredible. I think they'll be solid, but I don't think they'll be incredible. Nice trans by Boombox. Oh, that's so sad for Mana. Yo, come down here. Oh, nice clip. Did they not develop Pharah flying techniques at this time? No, like, I think the Conkin was a lot less popular at this time. I hope, yeah, I doubt Violet is their main support. Oh, nice. Carpe is absolutely pounding. I had to wait 3 more months? Yeah, you're fucking telling me, bro. I'm so bored. With none right now, but he did play Roadhog for extended period on the previous. Finn would likely play main support over Violet. Yeah, well, I would just rather them have a main. Like, it doesn't even need to be a heavy main support. It's what I keep shouting from the rooftops. I just want them to have a Lucio Mercy player in case Lucio Mercy is necessary. Doesn't need to be the world's greatest Lucio Mercy player. Just sign Moth again. Honestly, fuck it. Moth, we will give you $100,000 for you to sit on the bench unless we need a Lucio Mercy. Fuck it, he'll take it. Okay, Neptuno Lucio.
He has a barrage himself. It might be time for him to turn the tables. Neptuno attempted a drive-by at the Libero, who was dropping down for the mega health pack, and he's chasing on the point. Meko's fallen.
Come here, Sabiobi. Let's go, Philly. That was a good comeback.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Philadelphia Fusion stand on the precipice from being your stage.
I don't know if teams are basing their whole season of the grand finals on Overwatch 2 tests, but it seems like too many teams are just not signing main supports. Yeah, like, obviously the season's not over, but I'm going to be upset if a lot of teams don't sign main supports. Or at least just Lucio Mercy players, as I was saying. Like, I think it's important to have a Lucio Mercy player, and I think going in with the assumption that you don't need a Lucio Mercy player or someone else will just fill in for it is a dangerous game. It's a slippery slope.
Mercy's getting nerfed, you don't gotta worry about it anymore. Guess what? It may end up coming to bite you here in the end.
Houston need one, NYXL needs one, San Francisco Shock needs one.
They've got to hold Fusion and try and take it to a map 4 here. So EQO was already...
All right, what do we got here? We got...
boxes.
All right, we got Winston Dive versus Winston Dive. Oh, okay. This is kind of what the meta was for a lot of Season 3 and Season 2.
Cause a little bit of a misdirect.
This is what I thought was played more, but we've actually seen a lot of Orisa and random shit.
Force these players out into the high ground, or maybe down to the point.
What?
It's just taken a very long time here.
What?
Now he's kind of found Jonak on his own, but
Carpe with a pacifist run. That wasn't great. Oh, he's gonna die. Oh, yeah, he's gonna die.
I'm setting that up, and Jonak, what are you doing behind me, fam? Cleans him up pretty comfortably there. It was... we did
Did the Dragon sign anyone? They signed... Who did they sign? There's rumors that they got rid of Molly, and they definitely got rid of Develop, because Develop went to...
and I don't want to say the
Where did
first
Develop go again?
series
Shock?
isn't necessarily easy, but like these closeout games are extremely
Yeah, Shock, right? Charge. Who am I thinking of to Shock? I was thinking Proper went to Shock. Whoops.
Spitfire. This one's
Oh, nice shot.
because New York's just gonna keep leveling.
The other lightning one, yeah.
Libero getting the best of EQO there. It's res right back up.
So we
Who are
can-
you joined last year? Yeah.
With the Philadelphia
Who are
Fusion-
you as exactly? Who are you as what I want someone to be a main support? Who are you as only on that team in case a Genji Doom meta happens? That's his only role, and that's what I want them to sign for a main support, right? Your job is if Lucio Mercy is needed, you play. Otherwise, you just chill on the bench and get this bag.
Frank, you know, sits under the watchful gaze of his big brother, and now we have two halves of the Philadelphia Fusion approaching this one point. Saviobi has that pulse bomb. He'd love to get behind Poker and put it to good use, but for now he's playing safe.
And Neptuno's gonna use his Valkyrie trying to keep everybody up, but
Like, it's already weird, right? Like, just even back here in 2018, watching Carpe and EQO, right? It's like, all of a sudden, EQO's on the Widow and Carpe's on the Tracer. So it's like, Carpe was a better
probably did
Widow and Tracer player than EQO.
already lost.
I feel like this has just always been a theme for Philly, is that they've always played Carpe in, like, so many different roles.
Probably like that.
It's the second time in this series.
Oh, wait, now there's a delay on Mercy Res. There's a delay on Mercy Res if you don't have Valk active. It's instant if you have Valk. Kind of the week, thank you for the 45 months. Much love, my dude.
Still a chance here for the Fusion. I want to set up a little bit. So they got rid of that Widowmaker. Now they have the Genji for EQO.
And this is one thing I wanted to see how NYXL
Yeah.
responds to is when the aggression
Libero Widow is also wild.
protect Libero here because it's going to
Will they ever stop Miracomps? No. Miracomps, like, we don't see a ton of Miracomps all the time. There's usually a little bit of variability, but, like, you're never going to think there's always going to be a certain comp that is always considered best, and that's how it always is going to be.
Mono doubles back, gets himself the Mega. And yeah, the Fusion are being bundled out of here very unceremoniously.
Yeah, not putting any pressure though in this fight. Yeah, you're allowing Jonak to build up towards the Transcendence. Arc has his. Now extending those fights would be great, right? Because then you start building up towards your own support ults. Now right now, with 47 seconds to go, you may never see that Transcendence again for Philadelphia. When you
Feels like Poco's eating a lot of pulse bombs. Yeah, back in these times, people weren't as good at eating pulse bombs, but Poco's definitely doing it.
Flanking around. So we may not
Or maybe the people did eat a lot of pulse bombs, we just didn't notice it because there was never any, what is it called? Oh, Libero, no. Wow, well played by Libero. Oh, Fraggy just fucked that up. I think he should have wanted to land on that,
gave up his life to get himself the Widowmaker kill. Libero can just stay safe for the time being until they're ready to recommit to the fight. The NYXL now.
On the UI, sorry, what I meant, yeah. When I was looking at that. So this is the inaugural season, 2018.
Mitch, this fight's gone on so long that Boombox has that Transcendence back I was talking about. That'll be a Transcendence from Jonak.
Oh god, Libero!
Neptuno's going
Libero grapples to the point. Also, Diva Bomb on the point. Oh shit, dude, they haven't got anything done. This EQO Genji didn't even get a blade, which I think is a problem.
He charges forward on Meko. Knows he needs to stay on the point, but Fraggy's fallen in the backline to the pulse bomb of Saviobi, and Neptuno's right.
Dude, Sabiobi's just going sicko mode.
No way he's gonna get to the point. Nothing but a mini diva.
Yeah, Jonak's just on another level at this point.
A full hold. And that is how you bounce back from two lost maps. Slam the door right in the face and not even one tick for the Fusion.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of just Alim's actual kills, 17 to 3 in favor of NYXL. Savio B finishes 12 Alim's, 7 final blows, only 1 death.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like sometimes you end up like getting in your own head with strategy and like thinking too deep into it. It's like this is what's gotten NYXL here, right? Like
Yeah, sometimes you just got to go back to basics, and I think NYXL did that a lot more in season, like as time went on, just played a lot more of this like Tracer stuff.
the first 2 maps, they tried to play a game that was more Philly's game than their own.
And I feel like Sabio
Hey, Aya.
fairly quiet first couple of maps in this series.
Libero actually carried that map on Widow?
Generally in winning matches,
I think he did a good job of staying alive. Like, his ability to stay alive was nutty.
This is why.
But I think Sabiobi was the carry.
usually in terms of who they've got on the tracer. But Matt, they've got to try and hold out on this first point anyway, so it may well take something truly special. And who knows? Throw caution to the winds and see what happens.
No Sombra from either team as well. This is usually a map where we see a ton of Sombra play.
Overwatch 2 officially comes out. Do you think anyone will go from competitive Valorant to our? Oh, yeah. Or like, to our Overwatch League or come back to Overwatch? People will come back to Overwatch.
Maybe they don't want to rely on the Sombra here, knowing that the changes come through.
Like, there's a lot of people, like, if you didn't make it at Valorant at this point, you'll probably come back to Overwatch, right? If you're still wanting to be competitive. Like, it's always the way. People are always going to follow the new game, right? Patty Pez doing it right now there. Damn, okay, Libero.
Just can't win. Libero will drop down as Poco tries to salvage the situation, but there's nothing to be found.
Also, it's important to note with what I said as well, that comes under the guise that Overwatch 2 PvP is good. If Overwatch 2 PvP is good, people will make the transition. If not, people won't. Let's go. NYXL with the big 4 hold. Alright, over to Hollywood. Libero for some reason, yeah, I remember Libero like having his moments on the Widow, but he was more of like a Hanzo Junkrat player, Pharah player in my eyes.
Again, the top team so far in the Overwatch League and the opportunity to take the stage 2 title. And we'll
yeah, come on.
Junk in the trunk for NYXL right now, and Frankie's having none of it.
What are you doing?
So they're going right back. They're going to change right away. So they're going to go
Alright.
Widow and Junkrat here. So they're going to go a little bit heavier.
Yo, surely go Pharah. I feel like Pharah would be yeah, I feel like Pharah would be free against this, right? Like Carpe Widow, like what is he gonna do? I feel like I say that and he's about to fucking ding some dude.
Ambulance action now, and Carpe's already a step up the stairs to that high ground. Jonak will keep him honest though with those orbs as he often does. Carpe drops
Oh,
down.
Libero flank.
The 1-2 punch from either side of the divide.
Yeah, I do not like Philly's comp. They're playing Brawl against this comp. Against Junkrat.
Indeed, but that's Libero's
Playing Brawl before it was cool. Well, actually, it's kind of even goatsy here. Alright, Carpe goes to the Cass. Are you gonna say that, having faced Carpe? That's true. I don't ever think Carpe ever, like, posterized the Valiant, though. Maybe I'm just not remembering it. At least on stage. Oh, that's a good call. Oh my god. Okay, there they go. Wait, what happened to Ox? Back. Did he use his reses? Oh no. No, is Philly really gonna lose this? There's no way. They lost 3 people. Oh god. Oh, that grab's so bad. The grab really wasn't great. Oh no, Philly dropped the spaghetti. This is literally Philly every time they get into a winning position. That is so sad. They should not have lost that fight. The spaghetti's everywhere.
Able to take the point back. Both support ults used there for NYXL. Janice will change off of Arisa.
Is this the beginning of Philly pain? It feels like it. It feels like this is the beginning of the Philly memes.
He would love to make
Oh, what?
Jonak again. The gatekeeper in the most unlikely package.
Oh, good shatter. That's a big shatter. Ooh, let's go, Fraggy. Wait, why is Janice in? Somebody explain why NYXL put Janice in. What? I just realized. What? I'm actually shook. I just realized. That is such a bad decision. Like, Mono is...
He's not a
Well,
player who plays
no,
Diva as, obviously his main hero, but as soon as Carpe gets hooked, he makes
flexing? Yeah. You know when they last flexed? In a playoffs against London Spitfire and they lost.
It's extremely impressive.
Except Cassie has range DPS over Zen and Warrior is basically almost like Brig because Brig wasn't even released yet. Yeah. Like this is like, it's kind of like a brawl, right?
And this is where you bring in Carpe on the widowmaker.
I can't believe Janus is in. That makes no sense. Mano was literally winning you these games.
In the periphery. Riptire for Libero.
Maybe it's just hindsight.
Again, doing a bit of scouting with
Hey, come on.
Libero's
Stop
down,
it.
so that Riptire now amounts to nothing. Carpe picks it off. 65 situation, and that will force the New York Excelsior to back up.
And Philly, throughout that last fight, had actually held on to their sound barrier as well. So they still have the sound barrier.
Libero to the Widow, really? Round 2?
Yeah, so this is the sound barrier he's got at the beginning of the game. Libero will switch over to Widowmaker here.
Ooh.
He's trying to combat.
Big dick Libero. Don't give a shit about no Carpe.
Unbelievable. Carpe v Libero now, the Widowmaker battle. The lines have been drawn.
Maybe they want to play Widow, and maybe they want to play Orisa, and they think Janus is better Orisa, but they've already played Mano and Orisa a lot today.
Using the sound barrier,
Like, Mano has already played everything else. And, like, it's Orisa. It ain't rocket science as
A
well.
little bit of a distraction there. Carpe looks down and maybe to the back, try and protect
Oh,
the support.
Sebiobi on the Tracer is about to go,
Four in this fight.
about to start making his presence known.
This will be Poco getting demexed. They'll let him just run away. May go back to the spawn and switch. And if Tuno will go over to Mercy here, you want
Oh wait, why did they heal him? Oh my god, Poco's gonna lose Ultra. Hey, stop it, bro.
very
Come on.
careful though not to get caught in the sight lines of Libero.
Sebiobi Tracer was so fun to watch. It was just so... I feel like the word is erratic, but it was so good.
Sitting back so far, Carpe. 180
Stop it.
just for show, perhaps. Trying to get himself on YouTube.
And we've talked about, you know,
Good Trace players are the peak of our... Yeah, like, I think everyone thinks that. Like, watching a good Tracer is just always impressive.
it's just so much space.
Erotic.
Widow's gonna be able to take a few
Change that A to an O, and you got a word.
FHP, and then she just grapples to another location.
Sabiobi sees Janus in the distance and realizes that Janus has actually managed to get into the back line, and that's the peel from the Philadelphia Fusion. The entirety of the front line for Philly drops back in, and now the NYXL are trying to go back to the safe position. You can see them sort of break out, they disengage again, trying to frustrate and flummox the Fusion into making an error. This might be the
Wow.
Carpe push
It feels like Philly is just like waiting for Carpe to kill someone.
Here. I mean, you need to cause some kind of action here for Philadelphia. You're not really
Oh yeah, they're literally just doing nothing until Jonak kills 2.
kill on a Carpe as well.
Okay.
It's just so frightening when this man starts to get rolling.
Oh my god, he killed the Mercy as well. Fucking Jonak, man.
Protection.
Oh, Poco's gonna get staggered again.
No, they're waiting until they get the first pick here. NYXL waiting until the Philadelphia Fusion make a positioning error or they find that first kill.
I mean, as Jonak leads NYXL in terms of damage right now.
Oh my god, he's so good.
Headshots for days there on the Zen.
My MVP. Like, yeah, Jonak was without a doubt the MVP of the season, even though they didn't win.
The new
Like,
age power source method of generating energy would actually run out, but perhaps this is where it happens. Libero's forced to drop back. Does take a bit of damage here. Orbs thrown in his direction. It is now
Jonak can allow my inspiration to do more DVS than healing, yeah.
aggressively as with the last few.
Oh, Libero gets boombox. Dude, Libero Widow is kind of pounding in this series right now.
In the fight, and Sabiobi would love to add to the heap of skulls.
And they gotta get this res off onto Boombox. He has that transcendence to use, and they finally do.
Boombox now straight into the transcendence. Poco's mech is removed though. There's not much for the Fusion to work with. They're working on fumes. And a D-scored all
Yeah, this has been a good defense for NYXL, but it's literally just Jonak and Libero be fucking
from that payload. There's no way the Omnic Director's gonna get to his film today.
to lock the balls.
But that's all that can be done. Time's up, Philadelphia.
Actually, super excited to see if he can have a return to form with Smurf by his side. Yeah, like literally, Jonak just hasn't had a good team around him since 2018. Like 2019, the team, like, it feels like it's just been riddled with like bad coaching and like subpar players around him.
Versus Libero. Libero stepped up in a big way. So I know he finishes, shooting 48% scoped accuracy.
Never touch Widow again for the rest of the season. Yeah.
Nailing a ton of
Well, like Widow's such a confidence hero as well, right? It's you need to know that you can hit these shots, right?
Up on that high ground on defense. It is so difficult on that offensive side. If you want to go dive, so much space to cover.
Poor Poco lived outside that mech the entire match. It felt like it. Felt like it's just like, and Poco's D-mech. Sweet.
This is the Libero that knew this series. This sort of
I don't know why we're watching this.
It's going to be about playing that Widowmaker. They got to play.
What would you say about Mano? I feel Mano was Jonak on main tank. Never really had a solid team around him. Well, I think Mano was good on this season. But I agree, like obviously Mano's had his own series of woes. I think on this team right now, NYXL, I think the 3 best players are Sebiobi, Mano, and Jonak. And I think Sebiobi never really had anything, like he's obviously been really good at Tracer, but outside of that he hasn't been as good. But like Mano and Jonak have just been nuts.
they found Arc. They're gonna back away
Don't think Mono ever progressed. Yeah, I think Mono, but here's the thing. I agree, but I think Mono is just so consistent. Like, I think he's just good. I would want him on any hero. I have no problems with him playing on anything. I don't think he ever had as good of a season as he did in 2018, but...
Create those flanking opportunities. So I really like that they pushed up, taken this space, right? It's helped them, you know, build up.
Is Libero gonna go Pharaoh? I feel like that's a Libero thing to do.
Potentially maybe force some changes out of NYXL. Arc will
But I guess he's against can't play winner. He's not feeling himself that much.
do though against those big bodies, right? It's not like many, you know, tiny HP heroes he can just one clip.
Carpe, again, with his front line being so aggressive, he will have a bit of space. Unless Sabiobi manages to get himself in between the tanks and him. EQO spots a little bit of action around the backside. He doesn't quite know what he's running into. So
Oh, wow.
To overextend. Sabiobi just got hammered there. The Tracer will be able to get out. Slippery.
EQO's biggest strength as a player was always his ability to just play fucking anything, it felt like.
Playing that Widow in the back, but it's difficult because you
I don't think he was kind of like Libero in a way, where he was never the best at anything, but he was good at everything, you know what I mean?
Sticking together though, benefiting from that healing, the coalescence now.
Master of none.
Even more incentive not to leave each other's side. I mean, they're from the city.
Why is the Hog in this comp? Hog was really annoying to play against in these comps with these tanks because, like, the Hook is just so threatening.
About going for the whole Hog, but he's so low on HP and everything, including the kitchen sink, is being hurled at the fusion by the New York Excelsior, and it's worked. They will crumble, collapse, and capitulate here on his first point, and NYXL will take it.
extremely coordinated. They were able to get a transcendence. They got a block.
Philly does a I think this comp swap by Philly is going to lose them the game. They need to get some big picks because the card isn't all the way at the second point, I don't think. Like, NYXL, hopefully, if they just win this first fight with, like, a primal, Philly's just not even going to build an ult before they get there. Capitulate, what a word. Mitch is throwing thesaurus at them.
Really only have to get the payload down, mostly through this second stage, just outside.
Frankie's like, look at me, and he's just like, no.
Libero can settle to try and get some damage, but the rest of his team has to break sight lines.
They're going to run Genji instead of Tracer here for the Philadelphia Fusion. So this is a comp that actually I kind of like. And EQO also is one of the better Genjis at finishing off kills. We see a lot of games he finishes high in final blows. So he's able to dart in there almost like a Tracer and finish these kills off and get out.
Big involvement we saw when he first entered the Overwatch League. He and Fraggy were back to back, you know, in a churning mess of enemies. They really like to get involved in those fights. Definitely not a passive Genji, and you can see it right there. EQO exemplifies it, goes in for Meko. Boombox seemed to be slightly mispositioned there. And Carpe now needs to back away. Janus is probably going to stick around for this one. Oh, the Primal Rage.
Okay, here we go, Janus. Let's go, baby.
It's going to get battered, but the healing provided by Neptuno. So all
okay.
And EQO goes back, and he's just trying to farm some ult charge onto Janus.
Oh, Poco, that wasn't great. I don't know why Poco was there.
Early, though.
That's the plan for NYXL, Matt. The front line have been taken down. That's how they start, and now we'll have to see how they finish.
Falk? Does he have the trance? Oh, he does. Oh, Arc? The Arc Lucio fragging? Oh, Neptuno dies to Jonak? What the heck?
The fusion needed to return to the fray, and now Fraggy jumps in. Primal Rage is there. Poco being shunted off. He's going to be de-seated in just a moment. Carpe might try and flank wide, but he might not have the time. They've got to go to the payload now. EQO blown up on the 76 as he tried to approach.
Woo, that map was not that close. I'm hurt by this gameplay from Fusion. Yeah, like that's sort of what I said, right? Like they got to the point where they never really got an ult cycle before. Like they got their ult as the match was being lost. Watchpoint Gibraltar is a map 5. Oh baby, don't mind if I do. Get some Widow action. Did they put Pine in? Play Pine, you cowards. At least they put Mano in instead of Janus.
NYXL to play the Widowmaker or 76 in the back.
Arc was awesome, yeah. Arc was really good.
At the start. So in Philadelphia, Neptuno, we'll see if he decides to stay on Mercy. Potentially could go over, play Lucio here, but it just shows you don't really value the speed, kind of value that resurrection a little bit more.
Yeah, Neptuno's a beast on that Mercy. The Caduceus Blaster in his hands is quite deadly. And now the Philadelphia.
Wow, they got mech for free?
And they begin with removing Meko from his suit. This now provokes a retreat
from
NYXL to the server room.
NYXL? Oh god. Wow, how did AQO miss everything on that? That's fine.
but Jonak falls to
That looked like my Genji where I'm like, I'm going in, and then I just miss everything, and then I'm just like, heal me.
How much through this series have they really coordinated these dives with Libero on the Genji? They haven't played it that much. They've been going to a lot of other different...
You know, Fusion dropped this game when they lose to Janice. Oh no.
They're going to try and put a lot of pressure on Jonak in the back. He's been putting down a ton of damage so far in this series. Arc is going to be...
How was NYXL able to play Lucio Zen last map when it's not enough heals? I think Arc came back Lucio because at the very end. Pretty sure Arc was Mercy all the way until the very end, where he switched to Lucio Zen. Philly also played a little bit of Lucio Zen on Li Jiang, but it's just not a good comp. There's not enough healing. You usually do it in like a dive, but it's just not enough healing.
Has a pulse bomb, and Meko may have exhausted most of his defense matrix. Carpe's looking to do a bit of a deep dive. He's found Jonak. Pulse bomb doesn't connect. It's forced to recall out, but the Transcendence, regardless, is still used. It looks like NYXL are actually looking to use that, though.
You think you could out-Pharah everyone in Season 1? No, my Pharah's not very good. There's a lot of really good Pharahs, but I think the best Pharahs would definitely out-Pharah the previous Pharahs. Ooh, he's alive. That was crazy. Oh, nice. Philly's looking good on this point, this map so far. Oh, that's a good Nano Winston. You don't really see many Nano Winstons. We got the Anna Zen from NYXL.
Philly has come out storming through Gibraltar.
Not having a widowmaker, the Philadelphia Fusion can't use her to shut down particular points of entry or try and dominate sight lines, but they're happy with that. They want the Excelsior to come to the mat. You might just be right. You know,
this is why people think Anazen is good in 2020. Yo, NYXL did it in 2018. You saying it's not good?
yes, he does. He got a bit of
Oh, good bomb. That was a really nice bomb.
Poco now, a big tank, a big name missing for NYXL.
Oh, Libero?
Looks to try and fix that right out. Poco down. Libero falling, but Jonak removes.
Wow. That's such a bad point to get stalled. Like, $10 NYXL holds them here now. It's so hard to attack this point. And that was so many of Philly's ults.
Boombox to heal him up. But Sabiob kills him before that, and then
Anazen isn't good, but it's fun, yeah.
Standing there over Boombox's dead body. Sabiob takes him out as well. Jonak gonna get close to a Transcendence, so you'll have that Transcendence to combat the Dragon Blade that comes in from EQO. For Philly, you need to force out that Transcendence before you use that Dragon Blade. It's a good spot for Dragon Blade as well, right?
Oh, good dive. Holy shit.
Big deep dive there on the Boombox, and that is the NYXL dive that we haven't seen a lot of this series, man. But it works out. Fusion, maybe. Be careful what you wish for.
Well, they're going to res Fraggy here, and Mono is down. You don't have a res available, obviously, for NYXL. So there's a small window of opportunity where maybe you can attack here for Philly.
Sabiob didn't want to pulse bomb that, and Boombox has to stand up for himself here. He has to be able to handle Sabiob. Arcs down on the back line, though. Neptuno doesn't realize that Sabiob was going to remain.
Oh, that was sick. That would have been so bad if he didn't kill Boombox, but the fact that he killed Boombox just like makes it the whole thing worth it. Oh, he's so good, dude. Alright, this is Philly's ult cycle. They need to get value out of.
It's extremely weak. He hits a nice biotic grenade onto him, heals him right back up. Carpe is forced to use recall, and then Fraggy is...
It's good to see a game before Brig started popping up. And yeah, this is why, like, this is when, like, Dive was at its, like, purest form, right? Because, like, you don't have Brig and that kind of stuff just, like, completely negating any value of a dive.
If they get stalled out here, they will most likely lose the series.
Oh my god, Boombox goes down. They can't keep him alive.
Unbelievable from Jonak there. Finds Boombox again.
Yeah, like, how many picks has Jonak got?
And Carpe's down. This isn't working for Philly.
Honest Overwatch plus Moth Mercy? Yeah, well, I guess that's sort of the trade-off, right?
Difficult time getting to the high ground onto Jonak and forcing him out of position. He's able to just sit back as a turret, just put down these shots. This is where you may think about switching over to like the Widowmaker, right? Where all you need is that one shot to make a difference. You don't need that dive to get to the high ground. Mono has also been a troublemaker.
Oh my god, Boombox is dead again.
Takes out Boombox, but that's it up by Mono. Mono jumps right on top of him.
Poco needs to... I don't know if Poco can help more or what's going on, but Boombox is just respawn simulator right now.
And they need to be able to recover from this.
They use Valkyrie to engage.
Oh, fuck.
Self-destruct. Will force Libero out.
I'm upset for Philly watching this. Dude, imagine being a Philly fan watching this. Your team is getting reverse swept and you're just watching this tragedy as Boombox just dies on cooldown. Why am I remembering Mano as an off-tank? Well, his teammate was Meko. Maybe you're mixing up Meko and Mano. Imagine being a Philly fan, yeah. It just sounds like a bad time.
So that's why you've not seen EQO with the Dragon Blade. Mono will use Primal Rage. Philly's probably going to try and disengage from this Mitch, which they do. They back out. Mono will back out as well. Maybe have Fraggy use his Primal Rage.
When did this take place? 2018? Like May 2018?
Pulse bomb, Sabiolby. Fraggy to jump out there. He's actually done well to survive that one. But Sabiolby
Oh! That was close.
Doesn't find the kill on Neptuno when he takes a very small amount of damage. A pittance, really, against what we've seen Pulse bombs do so far.
Oh no! Boombox is not having a good map. He tranced to save the Genji, and now Libero has Blade. So even... Oh no.
They had to use the Transcendence to revive EQO because he falls right at the beginning. Libero will use his own Dragon Blade. He's able to get one. He goes back to the payload.
That was not great. EQO?
Hail Mary Blade from EQO. It has to be big. There's no other choice. EQO finds
All that. Dude, EQO's Genji has always been spicy. EQO's understand, like, awareness when he's in those fights is just so good. NYXL should win this fight. Should is the word that is probably gonna... No! Jonak kills Carpe! Don't do it to them! Just let them win the point! Wait, you can't push the Mercy away with a Primal Rage when she's rezzing? America explain? So Biobi gets EQO. Oh, that Cole is going to be a problem. Okay, they're going to cap. Woo! That was such a good clutch by EQO.
Uses Valkyrie to try and get up in the sky, and he somehow gets up to take him out in time. Oh, by the way, then off the
boy, this is a sweaty game. Yeah, this game's wild.
EQO kills Jonak again just as he gets Transcendence. Huge plays there from EQO.
Talking about the Hail Mary. And it looks like the Fusion got the blessing they were looking for. Carpe, that one's been thrown over the edge, my friend. He won't get the pick on Mano. Mano now will try and cause some trouble in the backline. It's Libero's turn to step up and draw the sword. Neptuno nothing with the blaster. And it's not going to work. Libero will take 2 kills and be happy.
Wow, good heals.
Good protection by Meko to keep the Genji alive after he took it.
That looked like Custa. That Tracer play was actually so bad. He just like completely threw that astray.
Yet again, no support ult here for Philadelphia. So your best kind of plan of attack here is to maybe use this Dragon Blade, get both support outs from NYXL.
Took him all 4 minutes to get that. Yeah, but that's a very notorious point for just being really hard. Dude, look at the timing of the Sabiolby Mono dive is kind of crisp. Oh my god, SBB. Don't do it to them. They're so low. They're dead. That was a smart, aggressive play. I'm surprised Boombox didn't quit. Well, this is during a time in which you have to keep playing Zen, right? So it's not even like he can switch.
Know exactly what they have to do to take this coveted stage 2 title.
Really smart plays from NYXL to push straight through there, not give...
I meant just the game. Oh, I uninstalled the game.
...to make a play. Not give...
Hey, yeah, can I install the game, ref? Without making a statement.
Force out that Valkyrie on the flank. But they just were not...
Alright, let's go.
Get that trend.
From the
remember when you could see players?
From NYXL.
Philadelphia.
This is a constant game every week, yeah. The schedule was brutal for this.
Have that Tuno on that Ana. Can they pressure Libero? Can they pressure Jonak? Force mistakes out of New York. Widowmaker already at large, and Libero taking half of Fraggy's HP on the first push-outs.
And he doesn't, he's shooting, he's maybe thinking there's like a Widowmaker mine here coming through the top. Obviously, does not have the great insight that we all know that there's no Widowmaker on the other side, so... Just gonna have 3 sight lines here. He has to be very careful though, he doesn't get dived.
No attempt for the Fusion to really try and stop this payload yet. They're setting up, split between the server room and the left-hand side of that hook turn. Fraggy low again, Orb of Harmony. We'll keep him topped up.
Was this when every game took place in LA? Yeah, this is Blizzard Arena.
Wide open.
Playing around the server room here, it's dangerous. You're putting yourself in a prime place for Sabiolby to go in and cause a lot of...
Totally hit different, yeah. It'd be nice to get some live games this year. I'm fingers crossed hoping that we get something live. Like, even if it's just like a few things, like...
The opening though, it's a trade. Carpe went deep for Jonak and now Libero
Carpe. Oh. Alright. Good hold. Nano Genji. Neptuno Ana. Yeah, this is back when people didn't mind playing the Ana Zen when it felt like you could get the Ana Zen in a defensible place. So like they can play on the back high grounds, right?
So he can get that dash straight through arc and take him out before the res comes on to Jonak, because then you would have had both support ups for NYXL at full strength with all their support ults, and you would have been down fragments. So you needed.
I don't think you'll see any other new teams added to the league until like the league's gonna get a lot more successful before they start adding teams. 20 is already a lot, right? Oh, I can't see what's happening. Dude, Mono and Sabiolbi are just so in sync with diving boombox. Like, literally, it's just constant. Like, you can't... No one can save him because, like... It's kind of funny. You're like, well, what do you do to counter that? And it's like, my first thought is, well, play Brig. You need something that can deflect... You need direct healing, but you need to be able to push the Winston and Tracer away.
First checkpoint reach for New York. First milestone on the way to their hoped victory. You would think though.
Because like the Ana has a good enough healing for the Zen or like the Mercy, but the problem is there's just too much damage with the Winston and the Tracer.
Manu challenging the back line of the Fusion to a tickle fight. Choose to opt out of that one. But Carpe and EQO use the absence of the tanks of NYXL to get in themselves and find the support.
And they're going to win this fight without having to use Dragon Blade. So you hold on to Dragon Blade, now you have a Nano Blade for the next fight.
Alright, this Nano Blade should be free.
Those ultimates there. Get that one.
I mean, Brig is a direct response to this meta. Straight up. It was like, how do we create a hero that makes it so that the Zen can be supported, right?
They're going to dive up on the high ground.
What can we do to counter dive? And then it was a good idea. It was just too broken, right?
Nano Blade here, EQO. It's definitely not Nano's side. It's massive. 3 kills, and he got both of the supports, Matt. Definitely the most important part of that one. The 1-2 punch. And EQO finishes in style.
Classic Blade.
Lovely Dragon Blade there.
It's hard to deny the need of Brig when you watch this stuff, as much as people hate her. Like, the idea of having a character that is inherently designed to counter dive, like Brig is in her current state, is good. The problem is she's just too oppressive at times, right? I would rather see Brig have more direct healing with less CC, and I hope that that's a direction they take her in Overwatch 2. She should be a counter to dive, but she shouldn't be as oppressive as she is. I think her whip shot needs, like, extra time on the cooldown. And maybe make her packs a little bit better, reduce her inspire a little bit more. Like she can be nullified and like remove her bash or something like that. Like she can be balanced to be a good spot, but yeah. 4 packs, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's not my job to balance and I haven't really thought about it too much, but the idea of having a counter dive support character is good, in my opinion.
There for a split second. Mono was actually slept, and then
they just made her, yeah, she was just way too strong, like in her beginning, right? And then, you know, they also obviously didn't understand how it was going to break her when she was coupled with tanks.
No Valkyrie here for NYXL, so you will have this nano boost. You're going to give it on a boombox.
Oh, that was sick by Neptuno. That was a good play by Neptuno. Oh, that's a problem though. The car got so far forward. Right? Like, it felt like that was only one real fight. Oh, stuck. Nice pulse bomb by Carpe. That might keep him in. Sabiolbi farming though. Damn. What's crazy is never noticing testing. Took like 3 games before she was absolutely insane. Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, remember, in the first season of Overwatch League, you're playing 2 games every week with very little time in between your practice. A lot of teams didn't want to waste the time trying to play Brig because people weren't 100% sure how strong she was just yet. Like even in the playoffs, like we didn't play her because people weren't willing to put in the time, and she didn't feel that good when she first came in. Was Bust Brig out was Mickey? Yeah. So it's kind of interesting, but it was also a result of Mercy was still really strong. So people were like, Mercy Brig wasn't that good because of how good Zen is and how good Mercy was. You didn't want to play both. You wanted to keep playing those 2 heroes. So there wasn't really a space for Brig, and no one wanted to completely overhaul their comps to make it work, right? I mean, when Blizz was testing here, oh yeah, but that's like...
Gino to step up. Carpe on the winner.
There's a difference between having top level things. Oh, there it is. My favorite thing is the chair.
Many fans would say they should have had it in stage 1, but here in stage 2, they really had to work for it.
$1,500 chair just careening off the stage, yeah.
Philadelphia Fusion pushed this squad to the very limit and gave us an incredible game of Overwatch, man.
It's a long day for Philadelphia, Mitch.
Up there with the EQO Rialto clutch, yeah.
In NYXL, the distance
It's hard being a Philly fan just for stuff like that, right? Like, they were so close.
so difficult when you go up against this top competition. In NYXL, they showed up in the clutch. Libero was fantastic.
The other teams that didn't have matches just stayed home. Yeah, most teams practiced out of the facility. And so there was like, every team had a team room and you practiced out of those rooms. So most of the teams were here.
Not a more clutch player in the
Do we do Danny? No, it's...
Stage 1, they will reverse
This is, Zoe.
see the pain on them.
I don't know who the translator is, actually.
A game that they should have won, but now they are the orchestrators of the reverse sweep. Philly came in swinging, there's no doubt about it. But NYXL outlasted them. They stayed with their heads in the game. Veteran minds like Savior will be on this roster, really keeping them together. And Jonak waking up on that Zenyatta towards the end. Really managed to put together a beautiful showing.
Yo, and there it is. We're not going to watch the interview. That is NYXL taking it. That's the championship win. I think this is probably when NYXL was at their best. I would say. Maybe stage 3? Were they better in stage 3? Maybe they were better in stage 3. They might have been better in stage 3, but this is like the beginning of the dynasty that they like went on to run because almost everyone just started playing a lot of the Winston, Zen, Mercy, and NYXL was just the best at it, mainly on the back of Sabiolbi, Tracer, and Jonak, Zen. Boston had a great stage 3, but even then NYXL was better than Boston. Like I remember being in the stands for that match, and NYXL was just better. So we are going to go back and watch some stage 3 stuff. I'm not 100% sure what you guys want to watch in stage 3. I do want to watch a Boston match because they were really good, but I don't really want to watch the finals because I remember NYXL just bopping them. And we've seen 2 matches of NYXL so far. So maybe we'll watch a Boston-London. I'd like to watch a different team. It was an insane game? Okay. If it was an insane game, we'll probably watch that. Let's watch a Vast play. Oh, no. Nobody tell him. Or the NYXL? Nah, we're not going to do it. So we'll find another team to watch, but we'll definitely go watch a match from stage 3, and I definitely want to watch a Boston match because not many people ever remember a time in which Boston had a perfect stage. They went 10-0 in stage 3, lost the finals to a crazy match, but yeah. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Love you all. Have a great night. And make sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff as well. The YouTube's been popping off. Obviously, not a lot of content going around these days, but you know, I know a lot of you have been enjoying History of Overwatch. So, bye, YouTube. Love you all. Talk soon.